It's now time for Matt and Dan in the house of... Well, a very good day, everyone. Welcome all to Matt and Dan in the house of...
Quark! Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast.
To another part of episode 4.
Yes,
Is that right? Episode 4.
Yes.
I'm going to use a Star Wars quote now, just for a joke. Revenge of the Quark. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just riffing now. I'm sorry.
Improvisation.
It hasn't gone good at all.
I wasn't expecting.
And it wasn't even a Star Trek quote. It was a Star Wars quote. But oh well. Yeah. So anyway,
Revenge of the Sith is episode 3, not episode 4.
It's episode 4.
It's episode 3.
No, it's not.
Here it is.
No,
Revenge of the Sith in Star Wars. Is
in Star Wars. Right, yeah, that is. Oh, yeah, it's right. I'm on Star Wars. You can tell I'm not a Star Wars fan. It's A New Hope, isn't it? Should we start again?
No.
No, we're not going to start again. Yeah, of course, yeah. In Star Wars, it's Revenge of the Sith, episode 3, A New Hope. That's what I meant, yeah.
Oh, right, that's what you meant, okay.
This is why we don't... yeah, even though I'm wrong. No, you are right, I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm wrong. Anyway, so yeah, welcome everyone. We're going to pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, anyway. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome one and all. This is why we don't do Star Wars podcast. Right, so welcome to Matt and Dan House of Quark. And wherever you're listening, of course, or you could be watching us. Of course, in at M and DH, because M and DHQ on Facebook, or you can be listening on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Radio Public, Breaker, or of course Overcast or Pocket Casts as well. We do like to get this spreading the world, of course, with the word of Trek. This is very important.
Absolutely. And any new ones, Matt, this week? Are we on any new ones this week?
I don't think so. I haven't had any emails or anything like that.
Okay.
So I will keep you posted if anything comes around. But at the moment, we're just on which I think is enough, to be honest. But basically what it is, I put it onto, is a great website, just going to plug it there as well. A great website called Anchor. If you want to start your own podcast, use Anchor. It's a great way of really getting your material out there. And it's free as well, which is great.
It's always good when it's free.
Exactly.
You do like your free stuff.
I do like my free stuff, yeah. Right, and so we're going to carry on, of course, episode 4. Yeah, that's what I meant. When you said episode 3, I thought you meant this is episode 3. Like, no, it's not. This is episode 4.
Because I thought you were saying episode 4, Revenge of the Quark, as in...
okay.
Which is episode 3.
So really, it should be a new Quark.
A new Quark. There we go.
Here we go. That's better. Okay, I'll correct that myself now. So if you are a Star Wars fan, episode 4, A New Quark. There you go.
Perfect.
Here we are. So what are we talking about? Of course, as we go through all different Star Trek series in chronological order. We talk about the theme tune, the ship, the captain and crew, episodes, and of course contribution to the Star Trek timeline. So where are we at the moment? So we've come a long way these past few episodes, but now we are finally on Star Trek Voyager. So Star Trek Voyager, of course, starting the year 2371 to the year 2378. And then, of course, then after that, we will talk about Picard. And then, that'll be the end of this part of our podcast.
Yeah, then we'll have to think of an episode next week.
I know. Tell me about it.
We've got loads of ideas, so don't worry.
No, we have. Of course we have. Right then, so Voyager. I am really excited to talk about Voyager. Possibly, it's definitely one of my favourite series ever. I know it wasn't in my top 2, but it's still up there. It's possibly number 3 at least. It's still,
Yeah, I would say it's number 3 for me.
Yeah, it still has.
But also, for me as well, it is also a childhood one for me, obviously.
Yeah, I can see that. I remember you really liked Voyager, especially when we were in college. I think I remember you talking a lot about Voyager. Yeah. Anyway, let's play the theme of Voyager. So I'm gonna head over now. Star Trek Voyager. What do we think of the theme?
Like I said, it brings back a lot of childhood memories. Like I said, it was definitely one I didn't probably watch straight away. Obviously, as previously mentioned, TNG was what I started on. But I think Voyager would definitely be my older sister's favourite Star Trek. Shout out to Emma. She would say that Voyager is her favourite, and I think obviously growing up with her, so that brings back a lot of childhood memories, that theme tune. As a theme tune itself, again, it's lovely. It's for me, like, I would say the same as the DS9 theme tune. It's not just a good Star Trek theme tune. It's a very good piece of music. Obviously, you got this the core. I always think of it as the core sort of Star Trek instruments, like the drums, the deep string instruments. So at its core, it's definitely a Star Trek theme tune. You know it's Star Trek. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just in terms of, like, I mean, I'm not a musician or anything, just so I don't know if I'm using the right terminology or anything, but like just the way it's like composed and sort of like, just the instruments. You can tell that it's like the same instruments used on the DS9.
DS9,
But it's at its core, it's Star Trek, but it's again unique. It's iconic. And I was thinking about this more in depth on a walk the other day, actually. The way I think of the Voyager theme tune, especially with the credits, it's very much a journey. The theme tune, which obviously encapsulates what the series is about. Obviously, it's set them lost in the Delta Quadrant, and the whole 7 series of Voyager is them trying to get back home. It's one massive journey. And I think that's true also for the theme tune. If you really think
certain parts, isn't it? I understand, obviously, all music has a beginning, middle, and end, but it has that definite feel of a beginning, middle.
It's very it's very definite. You know what the beginning is with the drums, and then it slows down, and then it goes really fast, and then it's. So I think that's brilliant. I think that's a really nice touch, and obviously like I say, it really encapsulates what Voyager is about. It's a journey, and it's brilliant.
Journey, definitely.
Yeah.
What you said.
And with the opening titles as well, I think it's actually one of my favorite opening title sequences, just because it's much more visual than DS9 and TNG and the others, because you've got Voyager, drifting through planets and flying. Again, it kind of really sums up what the series is about. It's it's my favorite bit is the where the camera pans down through the asteroids circling the planet. I like that bit. It is really cool. So again, the opening titles is an adventure, and it's just a really nice sort of. It sets you up for what you're about to watch. It's like
it has that sort of lost in space sort of feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's what Voyager is. So I think it's brilliant. So
I absolutely love the Voyager theme tune. I think possibly, like I said, possibly the best theme tune, actually. Possibly. It's one of the ones that I think all Star Trek fans love the sound of.
It's instantly recognizable just from the first bar. With the original theme tune, you would instantly recognize it, but you perhaps might not recognize the DS9 theme tune, for instance.
I think it's just catchy, isn't it? it's more catchy, like it's not words or anything, but it is still a very catchy theme. You end up whistling it randomly or humming it.
Yeah,
that sort of theme too. And like the idea you said about journey and travel. I'm going to own up to this. This is a weird thing I did during.
Tell us, what did you do?
Actually, do you know if you what's it called, the SpaceX shuttle that went to the International Space Station? I think it was called Dragon. Remember when they launched that? Can you remember that? I think it was a few weeks back.
Oh,
Elon
right,
Musk
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. I actually saw it in the sky because they said, watch in the UK, look at this certain time, and I actually played the Voyager theme tune on my phone.
Yeah. I think I remember you telling me about that, or
Yeah,
you posted a status about it
yeah.
or something like that.
And it worked beautifully. It worked, honestly. It worked. It was so good, and
That's
it
brilliant, though. I love that you did that. That's brilliant that you did that.
it's because and that's the first thing that came into my head was the idea of a shuttle traveling through space. I thought of a Voyager theme tune.
And that really says something about Voyager and Star Trek and the theme tune itself, that you were able to. That's what you thought of, because you could have used any,
Exactly. It could have been
any one.
original, anything TNG, but no, it was. I think this Voyager has that, like I said, that whole feel of travel and exploration. I guess of lost in space. The idea of trying to get home, isn't it? Which is no, it's a great theme, and
It is good.
I think it's possibly the best theme of the franchise.
I would, yeah, I would
Mm.
agree with that. I think it's definitely up there.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
it's one of those, I think, because I think our friend, I don't know if it was our friend Jonathan Newhouse or his brother. I remember um, they had it as their ringtone at one point. I don't know, but it is one of those theme tunes that
Yeah,
that is acceptable to have as a ringtone. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. No, definitely. I think so. Like I said, it's just catchy. It's
Yeah.
so it's just so catchy, and it's brilliant. And I think even non-Star Trek fans can appreciate it as a great theme tune.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great.
Didn't you have some words that went along to it or something? You made it.
Oh no, yeah. I
I
used
you didn't know. Oh.
I used to just sing along to it because I think it's such a good it's a good melody, isn't it? It's a very good tune.
Yeah.
Like, I used to sing something like Janeway, Jane, Jane, Jane. I used to go, where are you now in the Delta Quadrant? And I just think it'd make a great musical.
Voyager the musical.
Anyway, so that's the theme tune there. The ship
Brilliant.
itself, Voyager.
Yeah, I love it. I think again, it's one of my top ships. What I like, I mean, to start off with, what I like is that they didn't go with the classic saucer round circle
Yeah.
design. It's very pointy and very sleek and aerodynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that really appeals to me because, as you know, I'm a big Formula One fan, big racing car fan.
Yeah.
And for me, like Voyager definitely has that feel that it looks fast and it looks mean and it's pointy, it's aerodynamic,
Well, it's
it's
not like a grand big ship though, isn't it? Because like we
no,
always state at the first few seasons, we're not we're not meant to be a generational ship. The idea was just to go out there, sort the marquee out, and come back.
well, yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
this is something
Yeah.
I was going to say. It wasn't designed for, you know, it
Yeah.
wasn't designed for what they used it for. Do you know what I mean? For that sort of journey, it
Yeah.
was literally just meant to, like you say, go and sort the marquee out and
And come
come
back.
back.
Yeah. And I think,
So
yeah. No, I said the way as well. It's been adapted, as you said, like obviously to become a generational ship.
yeah,
For instance, like Neelix obviously had to create a galley for them in order to cook food and
and it was Janeway's lounge, wasn't it? Or
lounge.
dining.
Yeah, and that became the ship's galley. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, because
um,
mm,
but it's a very cool looking ship, like I say, and like I'm a big racing car fan, so for me it appeals to me because it sort of does have that look, like the pointiness of it, and
yeah,
uh, what I like about it is as well, it's not, I like you say, it's not a big ship, and I think I prefer the smaller ships in a way because obviously, as previously mentioned, my favorite Enterprise is the NX-01.
Yeah.
Again, that's just basically a saucer section, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's on the sides, and I don't know, for some reason I just prefer the smaller ships, compared to Picard's Enterprise, or like you said in the last episode when we were talking about DS9, you really liked the Defiant.
Mm-hmm.
That's another small ship that again is good looking.
With the Delta Flyer.
Yeah, well, on the Delta Flyer, yeah, I was going to get onto the Delta Flyer.
Yeah.
In fact, one of my favorite episodes involves the Delta Flyer. So, yeah, I love the design of Voyager, just because I don't know why, I just prefer the smaller ships. I think if I was sort of to command a ship, it would be a smaller ship like Voyager.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a class that we'd never heard of, the Intrepid class. It sounds cool, doesn't it?
Intrepid, yeah.
Intrepid.
Yeah. I always remember there's an episode where Neelix is because Neelix obviously did a lot of negotiating for him, didn't he? He became like ambassador of the Delta.
Ambassador, yeah.
And it's the way he said that it's an Intrepid class. It's the way he said it. I like the way he says it.
Do that again. That was a good.
Intrepid class or something. Something like that. And I really like the way he says it.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I think Voyager, is a great, like I said, great size ship, not too big. But the way, obviously, they I think they thought about a lot with it. Obviously the idea that it was only meant to be a short mission, or a shorter mission at least, of sorting out the Marquee. Chakotay, come with me, and then go back to.
Yeah, exactly. That was.
It became a big mission, obviously, and. We had to adapt. You even have. I'll be honest, I can't think of what it's called now, right on the top of my head. But I've always just thought this now. Obviously, 7 of 9. Obviously, she builds her own area, doesn't she, around on the ship? What's it called? To find.
Oh, astrometrics.
Astromet, yeah, exactly. So that becomes a big part of the Voyager ship as well, isn't it? With something we haven't seen before as well. So. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, and her alcoves as well. That was just a cargo bay, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you are right. Sorry, of course it was. Yeah, it was just a cargo bay, and it became obviously where it became her quarters, really, didn't it? Yeah.
But they also built the astrometrics lab, and she became, well, I guess that became her sort of thing.
Because we saw her there all the time, didn't we? She was sort of
obviously, she would know. Obviously, having the Borg knowledge of the Delta Quadrant, she's a perfect candidate for that.
Yeah. So so obviously the ship, captain and crew.
I just want to go back to the ship. One really cool aspect that I was expecting you to mention, but I'll mention it.
Okay.
One really cool quirk I love, and you see it actually in the opening titles, is when it goes to warp. The ship goes to warp, the sides sort of go like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's just another cool quirk, sort of racing car-esque thing that they included, and I just love that. I loved as a kid when I was watching Voyager. I'd always like it when they showed it going to warp, and I think a lot of fans would also agree that that's a really cool part of the.
I think the way Voyager warps actually is probably the coolest. Actually, it is. Yeah, no, I definitely agree on that. Yeah, no, I can see it now as well when you've said that.
It just sounds like it's engaging. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of captains say, right, engage.
Yeah.
But like when Janeway says it, the ship is actually engaging. You see it engaging. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So. No, I like that. No, definitely, I like that. So yeah, captain and crew.
Captain Janeway. Thoughts on Captain Janeway? Oh, wow. I think she's a brilliant captain. The thing I want to, because she, I can't remember the name. Kate Mulgrew. She wasn't actually the first person to be cast in it, was she?
I don't think so. You're right there, yeah.
I think it was somebody else. and like they'd already started shooting, and obviously the actress left and Kate Mulgrew took it. So that's
I think you are.
a bit of trivia either. For me, Captain Janeway is just a perfect role model. She's what I like about her. She wasn't afraid to sort of stand up. She was the first female captain that we saw. Obviously, there was Captain Georgiou in Discovery, which is set before, so technically she was, but Janeway was the first female captain that we saw. But she wasn't afraid, like, to stand up for herself and her crew, and stand up to the men. And I think she really drove, a message of sort of equality and stuff like that. I think she was what I would say is she is, not just was, she still is for me. Well, not for me, but a very good role model for women and girls. And I think even fans, even people that aren't fans of Star Trek, could look up to Captain Janeway, especially if they were a female, because she has qualities of great leadership. She can stand up for herself. She's not afraid to be pushed around, and you see that in a lot of episodes. She's not afraid to sort of get her fists out and be mean. But also on the flip side, she really wears her heart on her sleeve.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
More so than the other captains, I think. She really, really wears her heart on her sleeve. She really, there's episodes where she really beats herself up about sort of the ship being stranded in the Delta Quadrant. She's constantly, I think throughout the whole 7 series, she's constantly questioning whether she made the right decision. Yeah. Caretaker and strand her ship.
I think with a female character we can explore more, and which has the power of that, which sometimes maybe it's harder to do through a male character. You know what I mean? I think a woman has that sort of say power to it, where we can really explore both sides of it a lot more. And I think a woman as well, for me anyway, I think it's definitely I think it shows it a lot more for a woman, playing that role. I think anyway,
She's not. Yeah, it's not a sign of weakness for her. Like,
no, not at all. Not at all. No. Yeah.
She is I would say she is a motherly figure.
Yeah.
You can go to her for advice and whatever. She really cares about her crew and her, because it does. I mean, out of all of the, I know we've said this before, like Star Trek does have family values, but more so with Voyager, because they are one big family that's stuck out in the Delta Quadrant. And I think Janeway is a mother figure. She's the one leading this.
Yeah, mother figure, definitely. Yeah.
But it's not like she doesn't let the fact that she is a woman.
No.
I think a lot of, like I say, a lot of girls can look up to Janeway. People who want to be not just leaders, world leaders, or but like teachers as well. Like my sister's a teacher, Emma. I would say, I mean, I've never seen her teach, but she probably has Janeway qualities when she teaches, because she's a fan of Voyager. Yeah. But do you see what I'm saying? She's a very good role model, and I think for me, like, just the way, I guess it's probably the way the actress played her, but she's very good. Last thing that I want to say about that, like I say, she's not afraid to stand up for herself or her ship. But one of my favorite Janeway moments, and this for me sums the character up in one small scene, is
black. I'm joking.
No, but that is a good. There's coffee and that can have yellow. There's an episode where they've got I can't remember what aliens it were. I want to say it's the ones that had the phage, the disease, the phage.
Oh right, yeah. They harvest organs, don't they, and things.
Yeah, they harvest organs. It might have been one of them, but I don't know. but basically, fans would let us know once I say it. Basically, there's this alien on their ship who pretends to be friendly, but isn't. I think they sabotage part of Voyager or something, and they are in the not the holodeck, the transporter bay, and like Janeway's just learned that they've been betrayed, or like the sabotage or whatever's gone on, and she's very angry at this person that she's allowed on her ship, and she just storms into the you might remember it. She just storms into the transporter bay, goes right up to the alien and goes, "Get off my ship."
Yeah.
And that's all she says, and it's brilliant. Yeah. And that is Janeway for me. Get off my ship.
No, I like that, yeah.
Like, it's just for me that sums up Janeway. She's the perfect captain.
No, definitely. Yeah.
Perfect woman.
I think for me, I think again, it's another strand of TNG. Like you have obviously TNG, and then you have the two strands. Then you have DS9, which explores a lot of things with race, and then you have the other strand, which is Voyager, and it explores sexism and gender. And it's the idea, of course, that we have this powerful woman now in charge, like kind of like Deep Space Nine, when you had obviously a black man in charge. Now we're exploring a woman who's in charge. Janeway, to me, she very was, like you said, the idea is that she was a strong leader. She has a lot of, in a way, kind of Margaret Thatcher sort of, I can't think of the word now, but yeah, she's quite a lot like Margaret Thatcher in a way.
Yeah,
not everyone necessarily agrees with everything she says all the time either. However, she is a very strong leader, and she gets the job done.
And she's not afraid to make those decisions, like destroying the caretaker.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, as in, she yes, like I said, she obviously as a woman as well, she had emotions. She really cared a lot about her crew, but she was a very strong character. She didn't let it get in the way, and she made sure she got the job done, which I think is definitely a quality, especially from something like I think like Margaret Thatcher or someone like that, which I really think it really does show. And like I said, it's definitely very iconic, and I can imagine a lot of women being very inspired by her.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I said she is a strong woman. She's not. She's not just a woman captain. She is Captain Janeway, and you will listen to her. She is in control of that ship. Regardless of what you say, she is in control. And again, I said I like the idea when you said about being a mother figure as well. I definitely think she's definitely a mother figure towards people like, say, Harry, Kim.
Yeah. They have a really cool. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have a really cool relationship.
Yeah.
And things like she's not afraid to. She demotes Tom Paris. She's not afraid to do that. Obviously, then promotes him again. But Tom, I say breaks the law, but you know what I mean. He does something really bad, and she actually has, not the audacity is the wrong word, but she actually has the she demotes him.
Yeah.
And I think that's just that's brilliant. She can do that.
I think as well, like I said, it's like the whole idea of she in a way split opinions throughout the ship as well. Like, especially at the start, there were talks about, is Janeway doing the right thing? Is she not? And she even questioned herself. And that's another quality I think that's very important about her. Like, for instance, I said the whole idea she's a Margaret Thatcher figure. She's just thinking about getting from A to B. She's thinking of getting Voyager back to Earth. That's her goal. She does care for everyone, but she needs to be this dominant figure, and really strong. And I think it really shows that it was quite a difficult episode, and really did, I think, in a way, split a lot of fans' opinion on it. Was the episode, of course, with Tuvix. Where the idea whether or not to, because at the end of the day, they lost two crew members, Tuvok, of course, and Neelix. They put them together. Tuvix. And
I like that episode.
I do like that episode as well. But and there's loads of memes going around like on the internet and all that about how Janeway killed Tuvix and all that, and that's a life, and he has the rights and all that. But and it was hard for her, and it did split a lot of opinions on the ship, the actual series itself, and also I think off the camera with all the fans as well. I think people weren't sure if that's the right thing to do, but it's the idea that she's a strong, independent woman, and she makes that decision whether it's right or wrong. She needs to just go, I'm in charge, and I've decided this, and she just does it, and you have to accept it. That's what she's done, and she thinks that's the right way of going at the problem of, unfortunately, Tuvix, you've got to go. We need Tuvok back, and we need Neelix back, and he obviously sends him away.
She makes it throughout the series. Yeah, she makes a lot. Yeah, she makes a lot of key decisions, probably more so than any other captain. She has a lot of pressure on her, doesn't she? She has a lot of pressure on her. I think there's another one as well when Seven wants to rejoin the collective, and Janeway would not let her rejoin the collective. And I think there's that scene that I always think of when I think of Janeway is she's got the gun, she's on the Borg ship, and she shouts to Seven, "I'm not leaving without you." Yeah. And it's just she will not back down from anything, and she, like you say, she will make hard decisions. It was a hard decision to, I guess, separate Seven from the collective in the first place. The idea of letting a Borg on the ship. So no, you're right. Yeah, it's.
Throughout the people always question her. What she's done is the right thing to do, but it's like it's kind of that thing. Is like the idea of people always think what politicians do and stuff is wrong, and it's like, well, when you're in that position yourself, I guess you don't know what's the right and wrong thing to do, and it's hard. And I guess the idea you can't please everyone. However, you've got to be a strong leader and get the job done. And you
can't show weakness. That you can't dither about. You can't self-defense. You have to make.
But then we also saw her, of course, as you said, when she's off duty or whatever, and she really does, show her heart, and she is very caring. And she, there's even times I think on the first few episodes where she actually, she actually cries and things. She is actually worried about the crew, and she really does care. And I definitely think that's a mother quality that she has. And like I said earlier, when I said about it only shows through a female character, it's because, women can be, mothers. It's the idea that, they've got their feminine side, but also they've got their strong, powerful sides as well, which I think really shows only through Janeway as a captain.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. She's not a stay-at-home mum, is she? She's a working mum.
She's a working mum.
And it really drives that point that, yes, women can have babies and families, but they can also go out and work.
Yeah.
Men's jobs. There's, again, equality. It's one of Star Trek's main themes, I guess. Like we've been saying, it's. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's not.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
A home mum. She's a working mother.
Yeah, no, definitely. As I said, definitely a massive icon to all women out there. I definitely see that. Same of course as obviously DS9, of course, with Cisco being an icon for of course for Black communities all around the world, and that's why I think definitely has that. And that's what, again, that's another strand of Star Trek, of the next generation of the golden era. Definitely. So of course other crew members, I think fantastic crew, Voyager, a lot of lovable characters on Voyager.
Yeah, no, that's what I was about to say. A lot of lovable, sort of instantly recognizable characters. I think for me, there's two I want to. Well, there's two aspects I want to say. I think my favourite character for me, personally, is Tom Paris.
Yeah.
Just because I think again from a young age, being a boy, he was always the one I just sort of looked up to. He was the one that flew the ship, and obviously, like I've said before, I'm a big racing car fan, big Formula One fan, and he was the pilot of the ship. So I think for me, that's why I like Tom Paris the most, because he was this great pilot.
Yeah.
He was driving these great looking fast ships. And he's a great character. He comes from I think Janeway gets him out of, I think he starts in a prison camp or something like that. Yeah, so he's in prison, so he has a dark past, but he tries to set himself straight, and like I say, he gets demoted, but then he works hard to get promoted, and becomes a very important member of the crew, so yeah, for me, Tom Paris, it was always the one that I sort of looked up to, and I would say is my favourite. But another one I would say is also, interestingly, talking about Tom Paris, is B'Elanna.
Yeah, I love B'Elanna.
Obviously, B'Elanna and Tom get married, so I don't know if it's their two relationships that I like as well. I don't know. But yeah, B'Elanna is a really good character. She's kind of like she takes the aspect of obviously being half human, half Klingon. Obviously, we know that Spock was half human and half Vulcan, so it's that element. But I think she took it further, and she really has to she has a lot of issues, and that. And I think she does really well in I guess the actress portraying those sort of issues and identity issues and stuff. But also it's the fact that she's a female engineer again. So we've got a female captain and a female engineer, and it's again I just wanted to say that it's really driving the importance of equality in females. I love B'Elanna. I think she's a great character. And at the start, the first few episodes, first few seasons, you might not like B'Elanna. She could be, because she was a Maquis, wasn't she? So she was quite rough around the edges. But I think like as the seasons go on, she becomes very likable. And so for me, my favorite characters are Tom and B'Elanna. And obviously, they end up together. So
I think it explores obviously interracial relationships as well. From different planets this time, though, So
there's an episode where they obviously she becomes pregnant, doesn't she? And she's worried that the baby's gonna have forehead ridges. And there's a big episode on that, and like again, it's B'Elanna exploring her sort of background and her childhood. Obviously, she was made fun of for having forehead ridges, and she doesn't want that for her baby. And again, I think B'Elanna is a she has a good character arc, and
definitely,
and the actress did her justice. She really sort of explored that character, and
no, definitely.
And like I say, I really like B'Elanna and Tom for me.
I think I just like the idea of these are all completely different characters who've had to mix together and just get along. Obviously, like I said, the Voyager original mission was to just sort out the Maquis and come back. You said you have Chakotay, B'Elanna, they're all the Maquis crew, and the Maquis were lost, of course, with Voyager in the Delta Quadrant, and they had to just get along, and they became part of the crew. So there was always tension throughout the whole season between the two teams, basically, the two sides, and they've had to just get on with it and work. And again, that's another quality of Janeway, of course, having power to convince them and still be strong and lead them through, obviously, Starfleet rules as well, because obviously these are Maquis. Maquis technically, it was a terrorist organization, and they've had to
I think as well, it's like a lot of them didn't want to mix together.
No.
But again, Janeway being Janeway, like you say, it's like, well, tough. You're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
You either deal with it, or you haven't got a choice, and
Yeah,
that's very Janeway. It's like, well, tough.
We're all going to get back home safely, whether you like it or not, sort of thing. Or if you don't like it, we'll leave, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, and I think it definitely shows that throughout the throughout the season. But character-wise, though, I was going to say something, but my mind gone completely blank for some reason now. But yeah, I think, like you said, the whole idea of equality. Another a level it really shows that in as well is the Doctor, of course.
Yeah.
The Doctor, well, he's
Robert.
a hologram. He's a hologram. He's meant to be just an emergency hologram projection. That's the idea. He's meant to just be there as a backup, but he ends up becoming, of course, the main Doctor on board the ship. And I think another level of that, like we also saw that with being human, exploring being human as obviously with Data, but now we explore that with a hologram. It's the idea of do holograms have rights now? Then do holograms, if they have rational thought and they can make their own choices, does that make them any less human than me and you? And that's another I think just another element that explores that in Voyager, and that's through that character. I mean, he hasn't he never has a name, does he? I know he has a few names in the end, that he chooses. But that's one part. Is getting a name. It's getting an identity. Not just to be the ship's holographic Doctor. He wants to be a member of the crew.
Yeah.
And he explores, obviously explores again, like the Data. He explores singing. He and all sorts of things of being human, and he loves obviously.
Yeah, and sexuality as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and sexuality. He really does explore all those different elements of his being human, and he in a way he was just nothing but a backup hologram, holographic image of someone to basically just help out in the medic center, obviously. But then he ends up becoming a member of the crew and a main character as well.
No, I agree. I think as well the brilliance of that was the fact, obviously, with Data, you could deactivate him, but the thing with the Doctor is you could literally turn him on and off like a light switch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You could literally just say,
yeah, that's all he was light.
Yeah, but it's sort of that. Well, do you have the right to switch him off?
Yeah.
You because it was literally like computer and EMH. And it is literally just like flicking him off and he goes away, and it's just like, you have that right. And there was quite a few episodes where that was explored, and I think that's obviously they didn't have that with Data. Data was always there.
Yeah.
Yes, you could deactivate Data, but Data, I guess, always had a choice. The Doctor didn't have a choice, because literally all you had to say was computer and hologram, and he'd go away. And I mean, I guess it wasn't until he had that little patch thing that they discovered.
Yeah, from the 20.
That was technology from the future.
Yeah.
It wasn't until that was discovered that he was able to. But again, it's like Janeway allowing him, to roam across the ship and stuff like that. That's also explored. So, I think that's. I definitely agree with you there. The fact that you could, he explored it well, and I guess the seriousness of it is that you could literally just turn him off and on. It is literally just imagine like being able to do that to like one of your family members. Like, how must you that make you feel? Because the Doctor did become part of the family.
Part of the family, yeah.
But you could always still, even when he had the patch thing, you could still turn him off.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, I 100%.
It's interesting to think about, isn't it? Anyway, definitely.
Yeah. And it's like I said, the whole idea of Data fighting for sort of like human rights, and it's like, well, the Doctor, is another example of the idea of being an inanimate object.
Hologram rights, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, no, I think that's another element that definitely explores throughout Voyager, definitely. But yeah, all different characters. Obviously, I do like Neelix as well.
I like Neelix. A lot of fans didn't like
A
Neelix,
lot
did
of
they?
fans. I mean, I had a time
Which
when
is
I was
fair enough.
on him. I think he grows on you, Neelix. Like
Oh.
he's the character that. Well, obviously, yeah, he's outside help, isn't he? He's a local of the Delta Quadrant, and he becomes a friend, which I think is an important message. Well, Star Trek is, making friends with people, and it's good to make new friends, and
Yeah.
making new friends can help you learn new things, and which did. If it would have, Neelix helped them a lot with negotiations. Like I said,
Oh
he was
yeah.
the ambassador, didn't he? The ambassador
Yeah.
of Voyager for the Delta Quadrant, for Starfleet. So yeah, and there's lots of and Kess as well. There's lots of different and again a lot of female iconic characters. 7 and 9 again, another female
Nice.
iconic character. I think Voyager was all about the feminist era, I guess, of Star Trek, which it really does explore a lot of that for all those different characters and different scenarios. Definitely. Right then. Right. So, any
Where are
episodes?
Yeah, there's quite a few episodes. Weirdly, when I was thinking of episodes that I liked, I kind of, even I said DS9 was my favorite series.
Mm-hmm.
I only picked one DS9 episode, I think, but I've got quite a few Voyager episodes that I think are my favorites. I've got a few honorable mentions before saying my favorite, if that's all right.
Yeah, it's fine. Go for it.
So the first one is a two-parter, and it's Year of Hell.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the one where basically everything's going wrong for them, and they go through that period of space where there's no stars, and like I think
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that might be a different episode, but that's from what I remember. But and like Janeway's locked herself in a room, and she won't come out, and the ship's all battered up, and it's just it is just a year of hell. And it's
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could use that term to describe what we're going through right now this year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a yeah.
So Year of Hell's a really good two-parter episode. And the other one I wanted to honorably mention was the name of it I did have, but now I can't remember it. The Killing Game, which is last week we were saying about really good holodeck episodes. This is another good holodeck episode, another two-parter actually, and it's where the Hirogen have taken over Voyager and the holodeck, and they put them into the World War II thing.
Yeah.
And personally, I love learning about World War II. For historical fact, not that I liked that there was a war.
No, I know what you
but I'm really interested in sort of that history, and so for me, like, I really related to that because I don't want to say I'm fascinated by it, but because recently I watched a good documentary on Netflix about World War II, and I just loved it. It's called World War II in Color, and it's narrated by Derek Jacobi. And I recommend that documentary. So I love learning about World War II. So my point is, I liked that episode because of that aspect. But it's also a really fun holodeck episode. And basically, the Hirogen are one of my favorite aliens of Star Trek Voyager. Actually, they're a hunter species. They get their satisfaction on hunting prey. And the fact that they discover that Voyager has a holodeck where they can just create their own prey and their own scenarios. They take over Voyager, and they basically hunt the crew, and if they die, they get reincarnated back, and blah blah blah. It's just a very fun. It's just a very fun episode. You've got obviously the World War II element.
Would you say maybe they chose World War II because it's one of mankind's sort of nightmares, the dark past, and it's a great way of really, I guess, weakening us or making us fear, because obviously it's a history that we all we all know about. Obviously, learned from.
I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely. I think I would say yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that, and I think it's more relatable as
Yeah.
an audience,
Hmm.
knowing that there was the atrocity of World War Two.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, yeah, definitely, it's better to sort of create something like that rather than come up with, a different sort of storyline, plot line.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely, I'd agree with
Yeah.
that point. Yeah, definitely. So those two honourably mentions. On to my other two favourite episodes. Firstly, I would say worst case scenario,
Hmm.
which is in season 3, and this is again weirdly another holodeck related. I do like my holodeck episodes.
I'm not sure if Voyager has the most. I think I read a statistic somewhere. I'm not sure if Voyager has the most holodeck episodes. I'm not sure if it does or not. But
But
yeah,
what I'm saying is I sort of seem to be picking all these holodeck
yeah, no,
episodes.
but I'm just saying. I think Voyager might have the most holodeck episodes in all of the franchise. I don't know. Maybe that might be a thing to maybe look up. Yeah.
We'll have to look at we'll have to look into
Yeah.
it. And it's basically the episode where Tuvok has created a holonovel where it's the what if scenario.
Yeah.
Like do you mutiny against Janeway? Are you on Janeway? Are you team Janeway or are you team, Marquis? And it goes back to I can't quite remember. I think does it go back to the first episode or whatever basically there's going to be a mutiny against.
I don't think it comes out of the first episode, but I know what you mean though. Yeah, it's basically it writes in so that all the Marquis just
Yeah.
on
And and it's a brilliant fun episode. It just starts off with I think Tuvok and Tom, I think, but then slowly the crew get wind of this holodeck novel, and pretty soon the whole ship is trying it out for themselves. It's just brilliant. I think even Janeway sort of goes, well, it's just brilliant because when you first watch it, you think, oh, this is actually really happening, and then then it's revealed that it's a holodeck novel. I think it's just brilliant. It's a good episode. So
it was created obviously for research purposes, is the idea, isn't it? Obviously, Tuvok
that's why he wrote it. Yeah,
play out the scenario and how Starfleet could overcome it.
He never actually finished it though in the episode, did he? He actually never.
I think because they all were annoyed that he never finished the.
Yeah.
How was it finished? But I think it becomes obviously just a game that everyone likes to play, and they're all talking about it. It becomes like the best thing on the ship, and everyone's talking about during dinner time and all that, and how great it is, and then you should try it out. And it started off obviously as a simulation to to learn if it does happen, how can Starfleet officers overcome the
how we can deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's that. So that's one of my favorite episodes, and I think probably my all-time favorite episode of Voyager is probably not a significant one at all, but I like it for one main reason, and it's called what's it called? I forgot what it's called. I think it's called Flight or something like. Oh no, Drive. It's called Drive, and it's the episode where Tom Paris and I think Harry Kim discover that space race, and they because they're on the Delta Flyer and they bump into this lady who's broken down or whatever, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm part of the space race." So they get interested, and basically they want to take part in this race. Get all these little, and they want to use the Delta Flyer, obviously. So as previously mentioned, I'm a big racing fan, big Formula One fan, and for me, I love that episode just because of that reason. I love racing. I love Formula One, all sorts of car racing. Really, I'm really interested. I mean, I'm a big sports person as well. I love football and stuff, but motorsport is my biggest, I guess, sport. So yeah, for me, I think that's why I liked that episode the most. just because it is, a racing type episode.
Yeah.
And again, it does have other aspects in that episode. It does explore Tom and B'Elanna's relationship, because originally Harry Kim was meant to be the co-pilot, but then B'Elanna got jealous that he was taking part in this race and not spending time with her. So
yeah.
Swayed to give up his seat, and
yeah,
the fact that Tom, the halfway through the race, and like they're having a row, so Tom just stops the ship halfway through the race. So I mean, that is like I say, it's probably not an important episode of Voyager. I think it's just fun because here they are, like millions of light years away from home. The people at Starfleet and people on Earth don't know what's happening to them, if they're alive, if they're dead, and like just millions of light years away in this tiny bit of the Delta Quadrant, they're taking part in this space race rather than trying to get home. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think it's just a fun episode. I like it because it's racing, and I think again, Star Trek sort of predicting the future. Who knows? In a couple of hundred years, this could be the next generation of Formula One. You could see Lewis Hamilton driving a spaceship rather than a car. Do you know what I mean?
The Mars Grand Prix.
Yeah, the Mars Grand Prix. So I think it's that for me is one of my favorite episodes. Like I said, it's not a an important episode. It's just like I said, I've said my reasons why I like it.
Yeah. I think one thing you highlighted on is the most important part of obviously Voyager as well is they need to have fun.
Yeah.
It's funny, but it's all about having fun as well. As you said, obviously the marquee simulation episode, it's all idea of trying to distract themselves. Trying to find other ways of killing time, basically, because they obviously want to get home, but they can't just think of work all the time. Because as Janeway says, it they become in a way a generational ship. The idea of they'll have to. Obviously, I know they got back obviously a lot sooner than they did. However, there's the idea of they need to find a way of getting on with life. Basically, they need a life, regardless of what's happening. They do need a life. They do need to carry on, which isn't.
Well, yeah. I mean, if they hadn't got home the way that they did, they would have had to. Yeah, they would have brought up the children, and the children would have eventually taken over the ship. And
And I think a good episode, I think that explores that is you got Captain Proton, that character that Tom Harris plays. I know there's one episode obviously with Captain Proton when there's an alien who actually interferes with the program on the holodeck, and he actually has to act out the whole episode in order to defeat the alien. And
yeah.
And then Janeway gets involved as well, and she has to dress up as Queen Arachne.
Yeah,
it's having fun as well. It's having fun with it. And in a way, like obviously it was a serious conflict, but they had to do it, by basically acting out, and Janeway had to be part of it, and she got to dress up as Queen Arachne and all, and all that, which I always think that must have been a really fun episode to film. Really, Yeah, but I guess definitely think that's definitely part of it, the idea of having fun and escapism, escapism from your problems, which I think is an important, human trait. Definitely. Yeah. Also,
I mean, it's what we do, really. I mean, we've been in lockdown.
Well, we watched Star Trek.
So we watched Star Trek, but it is that sort of, all right, we're in it for the long haul. This is gonna be a while. You need to find other ways to
have fun and get on with life, isn't it? Which
it's like it goes back to what you were saying last week. Getting on with life. I mean, like I say, we've been in lockdown, so people have been sort of taking up various activities to keep themselves busy. So yeah, you're right, definitely.
But also, as one of a part of that, I like to talk about with episodes is sort of the part of the main story arc of Voyager, because obviously we have these elements where we have all the holodeck episodes, Also, the main story, as in you have like the Borg episodes. You have, of course, the Collective, which is an episode, and also and Child's Play.
All right, my dog's barking.
That's all right. He wants to get involved.
Yeah, he's probably barking at nothing.
Oh, my dog's barking now as well.
Probably because he can hear Willow. Anyway, yeah, carry on.
As you said,
Borg episodes.
So, my dog's barking now. So yeah, I was talking about so I really like the Borg episodes. I was going to say the Borg episodes because I'm one of them people. I can just watch Borg episodes after Borg episode. I absolutely love the Borg, and I absolutely love the way Voyager finishes well with Endgame. Endgame is one of my favorite episodes. This is the last episode.
Yeah, Endgame really. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it really explores. Voyager really explores. Well, we get to learn a lot more about the Borg. I think we're actually we're in the Borg's. We're in their neck of the woods as well. We're in their place.
Well, yeah.
We're in where they're from. We learn a lot more about them. We even. I think you really get to see how scary the Borg can be. Like, and I guess the whole the idea of the Borg children and all that always seems to scare me. The idea of obviously that they don't just hunt adults; they actually hunt their children, hunt their young, and then they make them into Borg as well. One of the ones where they discover 29th century Borg, and they actually discover like a baby Borg. A Borg that's going to grow up into a Borg, and I think that's when they really explore, what the Borg is and what it can become, and it can be quite sinister and quite scary. That's one thing about the Borg as well. They are a brilliant villains because they also are very scary as well. And
yeah, and I think especially in Voyager, I think they are more scarier in Voyager. They're a lot more intimidating in Voyager. And that might, like you say, that might very well be because the Delta Quadrant is where they're from, Mm-hmm. So, you're right. But I think they are a lot more intimidating and scary in Voyager.
But also, I think with the character of 7 and 9 as well, we get to explore how, the Borg are people who have been stripped away of their identity. And obviously 7 and 9 is trying to learn who she is throughout the season. So that's another important part of Voyager as well, is exploring what the Borg are capable of and what they can do. And also you've got a character who's gone through it all, and we're trying to get her back to being human, So I think that's another element it really does explore, especially with Voyager. I know we had Locutus, of course, in TNG, but I think because it's over a few seasons in Voyager, you really see the character development of 7 and 9, and she starts to become more and more human as the season goes on.
I think the season goes on, and then there's that point where she wants to throw it all away to rejoin the collective. And then she has to question whether, it was Janeway obviously that sort of persuaded her not to, but
because it's hard, isn't it? Because obviously that's the Borg in a way has become her drug. The collective's like a drug to her. She needs that.
There's a good way of looking at the Borg actually as a drug.
It's it's the idea. It's a drug. It's it keeps you safe. So I guess when you got to think about with the Borg as well, it must be just a safe shelter. The idea that you're never alone. They are one unit. They all talk to each other in the in the collective. They can always hear all the voices in her head.
She says that, doesn't she? She when she first gets separated, she's so used to having the thoughts of the rest of the collective. It kind of in a way scares her that she's now her own person.
Yeah, you're alone. You're away. You're a separate drone now. You can do what you want. Like. In a way,
she's scared to embrace her individuality.
Yeah,
I guess she really shows that and I guess the message is not to be afraid of who you are and explore.
She grew up as a Borg, though, didn't she? Obviously, she got captured when
she was young. Yeah.
So it's the idea is this is what she knows. She was brought up. Part of her childhood was teaching her to just be a Borg. And
It's a good episode is Raven, where
yeah,
they
yeah,
actually explore
yeah.
like um, how she became assimilated and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a good episode as well.
Again, I find it quite scary and sinister, that episode as well, because obviously
Yeah,
it's her parents who are just very curious of the Borg and want to study the Borg and get a bit close.
yeah.
And it's like their little girl just like playing with a Borg cube and
That is really scary because they tail the Borg cube for a bit, don't they?
yeah.
Without being detected, and that would frighten the life out of you.
Yeah. And it's the fact that they obviously do come on board and they sort them out, and then they take, you know, they take 7 of 9, you know, and it's I think for me, Voyager, again, it shows obviously you have to carry on, have fun, but also it's just a great way of really exploring, which has become possibly the main villain of the franchise, which is the Borg. And I said we're in their back garden now. We're actually in the place of the Borg. We're learning a lot more about them. And I think when you've watched them episodes the first time, you think, you get really excited to learn more about the Borg. They're not just some villains we came across in TNG a few times. They are, they're part. Well, they are the main story now. They are, which I think is brilliant with Voyager. Where it has that in it. Yes. So I think we're on the last bit now, aren't we? Contributions to the Star Trek timeline.
Your dog's barking again.
Yeah, I
know. Again, I think we've pretty much sort of said it before, but I'd say just the contribution to sort of equality, especially with the female leaders and engineers and stuff. So in terms of contribution to Star Trek, it's just highlighting the fact that Star Trek is a great way of or has this ability to inspire and you know what I'm trying to say. It has this obviously inspire sort of equality and humanity. It is just, I think it backs it up nicely. And for a long time it was the last Star Trek that we had as fans to watch. Obviously in terms of series wise. I think it made a significant contribution because we always say it's part of the golden generation, the golden era, and it's the last part of the golden era, and it's the fact that we wanted them to get home and they got home, and it kind of is a nice bookend to the golden era, really. Voyager's home, and that's nice and peaceful and but yeah, I'd say definitely the fact that we've managed to talk about Voyager for about an hour now straight shows just how much it has contributed to
definitely. I would just say Voyager, as in timeline wise, it gives Star Trek more depth, as in obviously we got to remember that, because Voyager was starting the year 2371, and Deep Space Nine, of course, ended in the year 2375. So there was a time, obviously, when these seasons were literally, parallel to each other, really, happening at the same time. So it's the idea of this is what's happening here in Deep Space Nine, with the Gamma Quadrant, but also we've got Voyager, and they even talk about each other. They mention what's happening in the Gamma Quadrant in Voyager, with the Maquis or the Dominion War and all that. And they even talk about Voyager being lost in space, in DS9. So it's the idea as well. To me, it's exciting because it acts more like a spin-off. It is happening at the same time. It gives it more depth. You know what I mean? It's happening at the same time, gives it more depth, and it's it just makes the world of Star Trek a lot bigger and a lot more things happening, and how they all connect. And I think it's great. Brilliant. So we love Voyager.
Voyager's brilliant.
Yeah. Right, Ed, so we're going to move on now. I said over an hour talking about it. I'm happy we did this episode as a separate.
Yeah.
I think we would have been struggling. Right, so let's have a look now at our... Whoop, I've lost you there now. Hang on. There we go. So let's have a look now at our board. And as you can see now, we've made it now to the last Star Trek series. Not the last Star Trek series ever. There will be more, but this is where we are at the moment. So Star Trek Picard, 2399 now. Obviously, we don't know when it finishes because it hasn't finished yet. So let's do what we always do. Let's watch the theme.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we'll go straight into it. Picard, what do we think?
I mean, as like you said, I mean, I've said this again, but as a piece of music, it's good. I just, as a Star Trek theme tune, I don't know. I mean, a confession, when I was watching Picard, I'd always skip the intro, if I'm honest.
Really?
Yeah. For me, it's, I don't know. Like I say, it's a very good piece of music. Don't get me wrong. Very good. I don't know. It doesn't for me scream Picard. I don't know why. Yeah. I don't really know what to say about it. You know, it's like I say. Sorry, I just shut my. As a piece of music, it's good, but as Star Trek theme tune, I don't know. I think it was just something that we weren't used to. I think if I was to not skip the intro, I probably would end up liking it. I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it, to be honest.
Because I absolutely love it. I do. I think it has. Well, it's more modernized. Obviously, it's 30 years on. You know, this is how we make TV series now. You know, it's got all these amazing effects on it. It has obviously get to see Patrick Stewart. He's back. He's a lot older than he was. And for me as well, the theme itself is just nostalgia, because the theme first did feature on the episode The Inner Light. It was played by his son. If you don't mind, Dan, I like to play that if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to just have a listen and we start listening to how it sounds like it. Hang on, it's just I think just so the viewers know what we're talking about as well. So yeah, you know, my point is just nostalgia, and
yeah.
I remember
After seeing that, it's good. I mean, it is the Picard theme tune, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You recognise it. I think that aspect of it is great. It is nostalgic.
I think for me, like I'll be honest, I didn't really put two and two together. I recognised it, but I didn't know where it was from, and I was like, this is off something else. And then when I found out that's what it was, that's the tune on that episode, this Sun plays on the pipe, and I was like, oh my god, like, you know, that's it got me really excited, and that's another thing. I think it becomes sort of a what they call Easter egg part of it, which I think I'm going to get into a little bit more as we talk about Picard. But I think Picard is all about Easter eggs, really, for the fans.
Yeah.
Which I loved about, and I think for that theme, you know, we see him as an old man as well. He's a lot older than he was back in his day on Enterprise, and just the imagery as well of the Borg ship and then you have that play in the background. To me, it was just playing on nostalgia. As a Star Trek fan, I was like, oh wow, this is, you know, it's great. It's the next chapter, like, sort of thing. Yeah, I personally, I can see what you mean though. It's a lot different than your regular Star Trek theme, but I personally thought it was I thought it was a great choice personally.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, especially after seeing that, I can understand more now.
Yeah.
I didn't put two and two together.
Yeah.
Like I said, as a piece of music, it's great. Yeah. Just, I don't know. I think.
Yeah. No, definitely. I see what what you're getting at, right? And so, where are we going now? So, of course, we'll talk about the theme tune. The ship itself, has it got a name? I don't know.
Don't know.
I actually don't know much about Picard. If Picard ship has a name, I'm honest with you. But what I remember in Picard is the ship. Well, I don't know really. It was obviously a lot more advanced in terms of obviously technology, as in it was a lot more. Well, obviously a lot more modern. You know, it's years after the Enterprise and all that. But again, it had a nice. I don't know. It was quite dystopian feel to it as well. I guess quite. I don't know. Quite gritty about that ship as well. That I understand. I guess you could also argue it's not a Starfleet command ship or anything, is it? It's just what's his name? Was it Crystal? Crystal Riaz or something, isn't it? The guy.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But then
I mean, it is. It does have that definite sort of 30 years on how, like, again, technology's changed. It's like the touch screen, and like it's not computers. It's things come up in the air and you can just touch the air or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That part of it.
Yeah. So I do like that aspect. Again, as a ship, I didn't really sort of. I wouldn't say rate it, but I didn't really sort of connect with it, if that makes sense.
I think the problem with it as well, though, like I know we are going to talk about crew and stuff, but it wasn't as such a crew. It wasn't like a captain and a crew. I think this is why we're struggling talking about it as well. It's that we didn't really get an emotional attachment to it as we did in the other seasons.
It was more of an amalgamation of people that Picard needed for his.
I said we can't even think. I'm there's obviously a name for the ship, and I just hasn't really connected to me what it's called at all really. But yeah, like you said though, what we said about the technology wise, really has enhanced the whole thing's coming out and all that. And but again, I think it has this sort of grittiness to it as well, because it said it's not a Starfleet ship anymore. It's not a Starfleet at all. It's a sort of a civilian ship, I guess, isn't it? And like I don't know, some aspects of it. It's like I know there's one episode they go to a planet and like all these adverts start popping out, and they have to like hit the adverts or something, or do something in order to get rid of the adverts. And I don't know, I found them funny. I'll be honest, I did laugh. Like it's quite funny. But I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Blade Runner, that sort of element, futuristic holographic element to it. And again, on the ship, they had I think it was was it 4 holograms that did different things as well?
Oh yeah, there's quite a few holograms of the pilot himself, wasn't it? Yeah.
So I mean, I think what it is as well. The problem with Picard is, and in a way, you can argue Discovery as well to some respect. I think Discovery's had 2 seasons, so I think that's why it's different. Captain Picard, Star Trek Picard is it's more of a drama than a sci-fi series that we're used to. It's I'm watching Farscape. Now Farscape, like Star Trek, obviously there is a story arc throughout the whole thing, but there are episodes there's some standoff episodes as well. But you really get to learn the ship and the crew, and what you do in every Star Trek this season. Where I find with Picard is, I don't know, maybe it's best to see it as. Obviously, it's part of the franchise. I definitely say that, but it's more like I don't know, just like the story of Picard afterwards, isn't it? That's what it is, really.
Yeah, I mean, I remember saying this to you when they first announced it. I think it would have perhaps done. Well, I would probably perhaps preferred it better if it had just been called Picard rather than Star Trek Picard, because I think adding Star Trek on to the front of it, you just assume that it is going to be like the other Star Treks. Well, actually, it's kind of not. But if they call it just Picard, then you go, okay, well, it is going to be something different. But we could still appreciate it, and I think that's where I struggled with it, for me personally.
I think I said the captain wise. I'm guessing you would say this Cristobal Rios or whatever his name is, and I mean for me, Picard's still the main character though, you know.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so yeah, like I said, it's just it's a funny one. I'm not knocking. I did really enjoy it, you know. And the story of Soji, it is Soji, isn't it? You know,
Soji, yeah.
Yeah, and all that as well, and how it connects to all, you know, Data and don't get me wrong though, that, you know, Data as well, seeing Data in the, you know, quite emotional.
Yeah, I mean, it does, like you say, there's a lot of Easter eggs, and it does hit you with that nostalgia, and it is nice to see all those again, definitely.
Yeah.
And as the premise, so I thought was really good, sort of exploring the, you know, the Tal Shiar more, which I really
Okay,
like.
yeah,
That
good thing
aspect
yeah.
of it, sort of, you know, yeah, obviously Romulans and stuff. So, like I say, I mean, as a series, you know, and like, you know, like I say, exploring different aspects of, obviously, like you say, Soji's story and the Tal Shiar, I think as a series is very good. But again, I think I just expected it to be too much Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like you say, it is more of a drama, but it's not a bad thing that it's like that. It's just,
it's the story of Captain Picard afterwards, isn't it? It's
yeah,
sort of thing. Which yeah, you know, it's great. You know, I think the characters are good on as well. I mean, you know, obviously we got 7 of 9 back as well, which is great. Again, I think,
and she's much more human now than she was when we saw her in Voyager. So she's obviously moved on a lot more, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm. And we also see, so I'm on a blind spot here now, Dan. What's his name? The young Borg.
Icheb.
Yeah, we see him, obviously. He dies, you know, in her hands, you know, and in her arms, sorry. And, you know, that's, yeah, you know, again, that's for the
Voyager fans. That's
it's
significant.
For the I mean, I've spoken to people who go on like, oh, I really want to check out Star Trek Picard, and I'm like, okay, cool. Oh yeah, it looks really good. And I'm like, oh yeah, it is pretty good. And I'm like, well, have you seen Voyager? Or have you seen any Star Trek? You know, and it turns out they haven't. And then I'm like, I always think, well, I think you're going to struggle though. I don't think you're going to understand who these people are they're talking about. I think you sort of do need to.
Yeah.
And like Discovery's different. I think Discovery you can watch from the start and not having to watch
And
it.
not know. Yeah, you could never have seen Star Trek before and start with Discovery. Yeah.
Whereas Picard, you do need to be I'd say a fan. You know, I know a bit about Star Trek, and I find it interesting what you said about the old Easter egg thing as well. Of, you know, and playing on nostalgia. I want to play another video, if that's okay. Because I think it has a lot of that in Picard, which I like as a fan. You know? So I'm going to play now. This is when the first episode we see. It's when we see 7 and 9, and it's a scene where Captain Picard is talking to 7 and 9 about their human selves and also their Borg selves as well. So it's quite interesting because obviously that's something they have in common. So let's check that out, and I want you to listen as well to the background music because that's a big part of it as well.
Okay.
Let's say it plays on nostalgia, and it's also, I think, as Star Trek fans, we just love seeing them two together, exploring that part, you know, of themselves. About, you know, ever since you left the collective, have you felt 100% human? And it's like, well, no, but you know, we're both working on this goal together. You know, this is something that only them two can talk about and relate to, and we never seen them together before. And it's like, oh my god! And then in the background, you know, you have the Voyager theme tune played, you know, in the background, and again, it's just nostalgia. It's little Easter eggs they're chucking in there for the fans. You know.
Yeah, it's those moments. I think it's those moments in Picard I think I relate to more than actually like the series itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it for the Easter eggs rather than. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what we've. Yeah. So obviously, I mean, episodes wise, yeah, I would say that episode. I think it's episode 3 when 7 and 9 comes back. I really enjoyed as well the ending. You know, I enjoyed seeing Captain Picard sat in the chair.
I mean, weirdly for me, the last episode was the best episode of the. Not because it was the last, just because it was for me the better episode. It was more exciting and more. It was the most. I think how I described it to you when I saw it. I think it was the most Star Trek-esque episode of the series.
Yeah. And also as well, it does again the idea of following, you know, equality and all that. I mean, obviously you had Discovery that follows, you know, obviously there's a gay couple on board the ship. Picard as well. This explores apparently 7 and 9. You know, seems to be getting into a lesbian relationship as well. You know, so you know, and that's another thing that they're playing on. And it's the beauty of Star Trek's all about that. You know, I said equality and.
Yeah.
I like that part of it actually. I do like that, and I like the fact that 9 has a
we've been saying this from episode 1, really, like inclusivity and individuality and equality. It's those words and, you know, topics and themes that Star Trek stands on. You know. Yeah. Doesn't not literally stands on, but you know.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. I think, overall, I think it was a great series. I'm really excited for season 2. I think season 2 is going to be hopefully more Star Trek because, like I said, the last episode, Sat in the Chair, Engage, to me, that opens doors of, are we going to be trekking again? Is that what's going to, is this just the build up to him going back to what he's best doing, you know? So I really hope that. I mean, I want to bring up as well, so a few months back, I did get a bit of popularity on the Star Trek Facebook group on Facebook, where I questioned. I mean, I was going to say this one and explain what I meant by it because I made a lot of people not necessarily upset, but it caused a lot of arguments throughout the page. I think I had over 800 comments on that. 800. I had so many reactions to it as well. It was unbelievable. Literally, I couldn't believe it when I did. And basically, what it was, I questioned whether or not it was right for Star Trek Picard to use bad language. That's all I was asking. I wouldn't necessarily say I was against it or for it. I was just saying I found it a bit strange, which I'll still stand by that today. I
found it strange. I just found it unnecessary. And
I know. I think personally, I think Star Trek doesn't need it. And I understand the whole idea of being more gritty, and some people argue the term of being more grown up. But me personally, I think it doesn't need that, though. I think it's grown up enough. I think, you know, Star Trek Picard was gritty enough as well. I think it's grown up with its fans perfectly without the swearing, you know. And I do feel as well that sometimes it was sort of in the script just to make people go to gasp, you know. And, I can't believe she said that. And you know, I laughed. I'm not saying I didn't laugh. I liked it, but did it need it? I don't think so personally.
I agree. I don't think it needed it, but
you know, and I'm not saying that as a censorship thing, as in, you know, there's children watching. I'm not saying. I just generally think it just didn't need it. I just didn't really see the point, and it wasn't even like little swear words, was it? It was
quite bad, especially when like Picard did it himself. It's like,
you know. And I understand he's off.
It's a bit of a letdown for me.
Say it again, sorry.
It's a bit of a letdown.
And people are going to do restrictions of networking back in those days and all that, and they probably would have swore, and I was like, well, maybe, but still, I
just don't think it's Star Trek, is it?
It doesn't need it. It doesn't actually need it. I always think I can watch the most violent films in the world or TV programs, and I don't need bad language. I generally don't. I'm not saying I'm offended by that. I'm not, because some people thought in the group I was offended by bad language, and that's not what I was saying. I'm not offended. I don't care. Whatever you say, you swear all you want. Does not offend me whatsoever. I'm just saying as a Star Trek fan, I just didn't feel like it needed to be in the script. That's all.
No, I concur.
Yeah. But overall, I did enjoy it. I thought it, again, it's more Trek for us to watch. I'm really excited about season 2. I think it opens a lot more doors. I think thanks to Picard, it's opened a lot more doors to different productions happening as well, obviously, throughout the franchise, which is very exciting. And I'm happy with it. I think it's going to be a good few years of Star Trek for us, which is all about. Contributions to the timeline. Well, it's the story continued, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's further. It's more Star Trek and it's more Picard, and I think a lot of people love Picard, and I think it's just sort of nice to sort of have something that was after rather than something that's not a prequel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think it's what it was. I think over the few years we've had obviously the Kelvin universe. We'll do a podcast in a few in a few weeks' time on the J.J. Abrams Star Trek. I like to do that as well. If you're on the Kelvin,
yeah.
I love the Kelvin universe as well. I think people are just going to be like, I want to see. It said new Star Trek, but in the prime timeline, but also after Voyager, and I think that's what it's delivered for us. It's delivered Captain Picard's story carried on. It's delivered, the 7 and 9 story is carried on, and it's given us all these nostalgia, all these little Easter eggs as well. I think it is literally giving what the fans wanted, and just in Picard, it's giving you Picard back 7 and 9 and going, hey, look, I remember all this stuff. Let's play the Voyager theme tune. Remember this? And remember this character. We'll talk, and I guess people go, remember that? I remember that. That was in Voyager. That was in TNG. And I think, like I said, I think it's just a great way of just bringing back Trek.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Or for the old fans, for us, I think, well, mainly. I think Discovery is a way of bringing new fans into the franchise, and trying to get younger people into it. But I think Picard was for us mainly. I think it wasn't really for them. It was for us to have something new. So I'm happy with it. Right then, I think we'll have a quick look at what we've done, and then I think that's it, Dan.
Yeah.
That's right then. So let's have a look. So of course, what we all talked about, and this is it. Wow, we started off with Enterprise 21, 51, 21, 61, all the way down to Star Trek Picard on the year 2399. So we've done all those series. Wow.
That's a lot of Star Trek.
That is a lot of Star Trek. So, ladies and boys and girls, you are listening out there, of course, or watching us on our Facebook page. Please continue to watch us. We've got lots more to talk about. Don't worry. We've got lots of ideas we want to talk about. The future is bright for Matt and Dan in the House of Quark. Right then. So again, thanks to all for
watching. We hope you've enjoyed.
Exactly. Remember, of course, check.
Do your plug-in.
Yeah, do our plug-in. Matt and Dan House of Quark. We check us, of course, on Facebook, M&DHQ, at M&DHQ on Facebook. Or you can listen to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Radio Public, Breaker, Overcast, and Pocket Casts as well. Wherever you're listening to or watching us, enjoy the rest of your day, or if you're going to bed, good night. Wherever you're listening to this or watching us. From me, Matt, and the lovely Dan, we say, live long
and prosper.